Thanks, Clive. Good evening and welcome to Look North, where tonight we celebrate the legacy of an extraordinary young girl. Hundreds of mourners gather for the funeral of 6-year-old Beau from Kirklees, who died from an aggressive cancer.
Beau gave so much in her short life. I think in her 6, almost 7 years, she achieved far more than most of us will do in a very long lifetime.
We join the community celebrating her life. Also tonight, TransPennine Express tells customers to only travel if they really have to. So, what's gone wrong with the newly nationalised company? Rob Beau and his family will be centre stage at Headingley tonight for the Rhinos against the Huddersfield Giants, a match being dedicated to motor neurone disease awareness. And we soar into the wild blue yonder on a 2-winged tiger moth ahead of Armed Forces Day.
And it's been another fine and warm day, although a bit more cloud than we've had in recent days. It's looking humid and very warm for the weekend. Sun breakdown on Sunday, introducing fresher air for next week. I'll have all the details on that later in the programme.
Hello there, thank you for your company. Now, we start tonight with an outpouring of love from a West Yorkshire community for a little girl who died just before her 7th birthday. Beau was diagnosed with an aggressive form of childhood cancer when she was just 4 years old. She's been described as an inspiration who has touched the lives of all who met her. Today, the community in Robert Town near Liversedge paid an emotional tribute to celebrate her short life. Phil Bonner was there.
They turned out in their hundreds to say goodbye to a little girl from Kirklees who touched so many lives.
I would like to go swimming, and the one thing I would like to do is go shopping.
6-year-old Beau lost her battle with neuroblastoma, a rare form of cancer which affects nerve cells in babies and young children. She was just a few weeks short of her 7th birthday. This afternoon, mourners packed her local church in Robert Town. Many more stood outside as Mum Shirley paid tribute to her little Beau.
Beau didn't want to go to an enclosure where dolphins were captured so that she could paddle water next to them and tickle their tummies. She didn't want to go out on a boat on the off chance that she would see them jumping through the waves. Beau wanted to swim with the dolphins. She wanted to be with them, and I feel so content that she knew in huge pods she would be protected, cared for and comforted by their grace whilst sharing the joy of their curious and playful nature. She knew there was more for her, and that this was only the beginning.
She was that huge personality, both at school, at home, wherever you met Beau. She just lit up the room, and hopefully she'll help us light up today.
And a little girl who will be fondly remembered forever.
Forever, absolutely. We'll never forget her. We'll never forget her.
Beau loved bright colours. By way of a tribute, the community decorated the streets of Robert Town with balloons, bunting and chalk messages.
We were going to Beau bomb the whole village, and with that it meant rainbows, pinks, greens, yellows, purples, blues, you name it, we were going to do it. That rainbow resonated with everything that Beau was about, and that was bright, vibrant, there in all weathers, rain and shine. There's something magical about a rainbow, and that fits where we are today, really.
You only have to walk through the village to see the efforts that people have gone to today. And that's the thing about Beau, she's changed people's lives, she's changed this community forever, and her impact will be felt for years to come.
Although this was very much a celebration of a young life, it was also poignant and at times emotionally raw.
She brought a whole community together. There were lots of fundraising, we had fun together, there were lots of laughter. Beau was there geeing everybody up, and we have all those memories to help see us through. It wasn't God who caused it, it was just one of those things that sadly happened because of these amazing bodies that we inhabit. But I have no doubt that God was with us today, holding us tight and crying with us.
Beau's final journey began with a band, bikers and blue lights, followed by a procession through the streets to her place of rest. A young life lived and lost far too soon. Phil Bodmer, BBC Look North.
Extraordinary pictures. Thank you very much indeed, Phil, with that reflection on Beau's life. Now, in other news, the parents of a Leeds man who was murdered in a case of mistaken identity say they desperately need justice so they can focus on their memories of their son. Tomorrow marks 15 years since Adam Chadwick was shot by a gang of men who tried to force their way into his sister's home in Hare Hills. Our social affairs correspondent Emma Glasby has been speaking to his family.
Another year without justice. Adam Chadwick was murdered in Leeds in 2008, shot by a gang in a case of mistaken identity.
How could this happen to a man like this? I hope anybody with any information, no matter how trivial they believe it might be, so please, 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 ring the police.
But 15 years on, his killers have not been caught.
I think the more time it goes on, the more anger and frustrated you get.
We just want to go and remember him and what he did and how he was. He'll never be the same.
No.
But if we can get some closure by getting some justice, it'll help us to just have his memories. Unless we find out exactly everything we need to know, we'll never get proper closure.
Adam Chadwick had been watching a film at his sister's home here in Hare Hills when a woman came to the door asking for Michelle. When she later came back again, masked men tried to force their way into the house and Adam was shot. A Crime Watch reconstruction showed what happened, and since that night many appeals have been made and a reward offered. Adam died in hospital 2 days after the shooting. He left behind a 3-year-old daughter. He was only 20.
It's hard, and I suppose I've been through different types of therapy, counselling over years, and it is hard. I still have strange dreams, and do you know what I mean? It does still affect me sometimes day to day, especially around this time. But if people didn't stand up and keep going, people would never get caught, would they? So you've just got to keep going and hope that someone's conscious one day, they'll do the right thing, and if they do know something, they'll come forward and say what they know. There'll be someone who knows, you know, no matter how many years it is, you know, someone does know. How would they feel if this were one of their loved ones? They'd want the help from the public like we do, and that's all we're asking for. You know, we just want justice for him. I don't want to be buried with my son knowing I ain't got justice for him.
Over the years, friendships end and loyalties change. That gives Adam's family hope that a breakthrough will come and that someone will finally reveal who is responsible. Emma Glasby, BBC Look North, Leeds.
You're watching Friday's Look North. Still to come on tonight's programme, what no post? The Sheffield street where the mail has gone missing. Now, some of the other news making headlines here at Look North. A family is appealing for the public's help to find their son. 12-year-old Cyril went missing from his home in Harrogate in the early hours of Wednesday morning. North Yorkshire Police say he could still be in the local area and they're appealing to the public for information. Abby Jola has the very latest for the programme.
We're here at the church the family attend in Harrogate. 12-year-old Cyril hasn't been seen since Wednesday morning, and as you can imagine, a very worrying time for the family. I'm here with Cyril's mum and dad. He is only 12, he must be incredibly worried.
Yeah, I'm very worried.
I've seen lots of messages on social media from Cyril's friends, from his school. It seems like there are a lot of people out there looking for him and who care very deeply about him.
Yes, the community, the school he attends, and the club he plays football are all showing their support, and we are happy.
What would you say if Cyril's watching this, or if somebody out there knows where he is?
I would just have to say that he shouldn't be scared coming home, because he's loved by everybody, and he's very welcome home. He's loved by everybody in the house. His little siblings are looking up to him to come home because he connects with them very much. So they are all looking forward to him getting back home. Yeah.
We all need him at home. He loves to serve mass and he loves to do church stuff. So we just want him home.
Well, North Yorkshire Police have been out there looking for Cyril. Sonia is with me. She's the Acting Inspector for North Yorkshire Police. What can you tell me about the investigation?
We've got a number of resources, that we're currently doing at this, both sort of front line with specialist search teams and also behind the scenes with CCTV coordinators, looking at phones. We're reviewing all the stuff that's on social media, and it's really just a massive thank you to everybody that's been providing us with sightings or any information about Cyril. It's been absolutely brilliant, and we just ask them to continue to do that, please.
As time goes on, you must be getting more worried for Cyril.
Of course we are, indeed, yeah, and we don't know if he's got access to food or shelter or anything like that. Why, even the smallest bit of information is incredibly important to us. We would say, just so we can act on it, if anyone sees him, even if they think it's him or anything that's really pertinent, to call 999 immediately. Anything else, 101, but certainly we'd rather get to Cyril as soon as we possibly can, so 999, really important. Don't feel like they're wasting our time by using that facility.
Well, everybody here is hoping that Cyril will be home soon. Lots of people out there looking for him and wanting to know that he's okay.
Thank you, Abby, and we'll obviously keep you up to date on that story, both on our late bulletin tonight and on our bulletins over the weekend. Let's hope for a happy outcome. Now, it's been for another day of late, cancelled and overcrowded trains on TransPennine Express. This time, passengers were warned about problems beforehand, with the train company telling people last night to only travel if their journey was essential. TransPennine Express was, of course, taken over by the government just a month ago, and so far seems to be suffering from the same problems that have dogged it for months. Our transport correspondent Spencer Stokes is here now.
Yes, that request not to travel unless the journey is essential is a message that train companies put out to help cope with events beyond their control, such as bad weather or an emergency incident. In this case, TransPennine are advising customers not to travel because they don't have enough drivers. They've told us today they only have 50% of the drivers they need to operate all the different types of trains across all their routes. Now, that's meant more cancellations and overcrowded services, as we found out on the train from Leeds to York.
It's become easier to travel when the train drivers are on strike these days than it is when they're not on strike, because you have absolutely no idea what is happening on days that they're not on strike.
Horrendously crowded. People have been stood in the hallways, in the aisleways all the time. It's not been good at all. With the baggage? Yeah, with the baggage and with children, it's not good at all.
You know, it's gone back into government control, but I'm seeing no improvement in the service. I appreciate that it's early doors, but if it's gone back into government control, there should be some sort of plan.
So how bad were things today? TransPennine say they cancelled 16% of trains compared with 10% between Monday and Thursday. It's a month now since the company was nationalised, and back then the new management said they expected challenges to get worse in the short term. But there could be improvements from next week because the ASLEF union is lifting an overtime ban, which means more drivers will be working, and that should mean more stable services. Improvements which everyone accepts are long overdue.
Thanks, Spencer. I know you'll keep us up to date on this story. Now, about a dozen homes were evacuated in Rotherham earlier today after a man was arrested following a police raid. This is Treefield Close in Wingfield. Bomb disposal experts were called in after police executed a warrant at a nearby house. Roads were closed for hours and people were asked to avoid the area. A van driver who hit and killed a cyclist while he was driving at nearly twice the legal speed limit has been jailed for 7.5 years. Terence Key was cycling home from work on Wakefield Road in Normanton when he was hit by Paul Watson's van. Mr Watson admitted driving after taking cocaine and being over the drink-drive limit. He hit Mr Key at 55 miles per hour, killing him. He pleaded guilty to causing death by dangerous driving and was jailed at Leeds Crown Court today. Now, you are meant to have your post delivered every day, except Sundays, of course, but the residents in the Meersbrook area of Sheffield say they've been left without mail for up to 2 weeks. Important hospital appointments, mortgage documents and even medication, you name it, it's failing to arrive on the doormat on the 4 roads in the area. It is causing real problems. Royal Mail has had to apologise, as Mark Ansell reports.
Another day and still no post. Miranda has waited up to 2 weeks for her mail to be delivered. It's becoming a nightmare.
There's people who have missed mortgage papers, hospital appointments, people waiting for prescriptions. We've all sort of tried contacting Royal Mail and we're all just getting sort of your standard copy and paste answer, not really addressing the situation. We're behind the posties and we're supporting them when we see them, but not everybody's doing that.
Residents are at their wits' end. After all, you're meant to have your post delivered 6 days a week.
We've watched the post offices close, the banks close, but I don't think even in our wildest, most pessimistic moments we thought that we wouldn't get a door delivery service of mail, and that is effectively what's happening. This isn't just to do with the local sorting office. It's certainly not to do with the delivery people themselves, the few that are left. This needs to be exposed as a national issue. It clearly isn't just these few streets around this part of Sheffield where this is being affected.
Local MP Louise Haigh has raised the no post problem with Royal Mail, but is yet to hear back.
I did get in touch with them by email, so I don't think there's any chance of the letter being lost in the post. But it's quite frankly unacceptable that they've not yet replied to me or offered my constituents a good enough reason as to why their post isn't being delivered. Royal Mail are legally required to deliver within a certain time frame, and they're not meeting those legal requirements.
In a statement, Royal Mail apologised to residents and say that the local service has recently been impacted by high levels of sickness absence. Efforts are underway to resolve this, including the addition of agency staff to manage the current workload. But residents in Mearsbrook have vowed to fight on until they get their postie back delivering 6 days a week. Mark Ansell, BBC Look North, Sheffield.
Thanks, Mark. Now, Sally's off tonight, so I'm like a late sub off the bench with your sports news. Good luck to our region's FA Cup finalists this weekend. Yes, you heard that right. The FA Disability Cup final features the North East and Yorkshire Cerebral Palsy team, who've reached the final for an amazing 5th year on the trot. The team is based in York, and it offers footballers who've suffered a stroke or acquired brain injuries the chance to play. They face Norwich on Sunday morning at St George's Park in Staffordshire. Quick burst of speedway for you, and I'm afraid Sheffield Tigers' long run of home Premiership victories has finally come to an end. Last night at Owlerton, it was in-form Leicester Lions who roared to victory by a dramatic 46 points to 44. Leicester won thanks to an early 12-point lead and managed to resist a strong Tigers fight back in the closing stages of the meeting. And elsewhere for our region's many Olympic hopefuls, the countdown is well and truly on to Paris 2024. This summer's European Games are underway in Poland, where Team GB are competing across 10 Olympic sports, with qualification for Paris at stake. Amongst them will be Bradford boxer Haris Akbar. He has been working hard to put behind him that disappointing early exit at the Commonwealths.
It's a loss, and to do it in your home country as well, I think it hit me a bit more, but you've got to bounce back every time, and that was the hardest part of it, just to try and bounce back and get back into the rhythm. Been getting better every fight, and that's the main thing. I've been feeling sharper, faster and quicker every fight as well, so by the time I hit Krakow, I'm going to be at my peak, and that's when I'm going to start feeling sorry for the opponents.
Yeah, I can't believe it's only a year to go to Paris 2024 already. It doesn't seem a heartbeat since Tokyo. Let's turn to Super League now. It's Leeds Rhinos against Huddersfield Giants tonight at Headingley. Always a big one for the diary, but tonight is extra special because the match is being dedicated to motor neurone disease awareness. Rob Burrow and his family are guests of honour. In fact, Rob's children are threatening to take over the whole show by the sounds of it. Our reporter Corinne Wheatley is there. Corinne, tell us more.
Thanks, Tom. Good evening. Yes, the stands are filling up at Headingley for tonight's West Yorkshire derby. There's a reserves game on at the moment, and there's lots going on tonight because, as you say, the match is dedicated to motor neurone disease. So tonight, 20% of the ticket sales are going to the MND Association, and there's lots of people in the blue T-shirts rattling the buckets, encouraging people to give generously. Let's meet Sue Lodge, who has a rare form of MND, and I know, Sue, this is a great opportunity you feel to raise awareness, isn't it?
It is, yes, because there are various forms of MND. Everyone just associates the one that Rob has, but I'm talking to people about different forms, and thanks to the Leeds Rhinos, Rob's here, his wife Lindsay, Kev, so more awareness is being raised thanks to this game tonight.
Thank you very much, Sue. And behind Sue, we've got Adam. Now, we need to give a big hand to Adam because he's just completed an incredible fundraising challenge. Adam, just tell us what you've been doing over the last 8 days.
I've been doing roughly around 150 miles over 8 days around Yorkshire walking.
In the hot, humid conditions.
Yes.
Now, what is it that inspired you, Huddersfield Giants fan, to take on this challenge?
Well, initially it was Rob Burrow with the rugby side of things, but also one of my friends that I used to work with, her father sadly passed away from M&D, so that pushed me to do more.
Well, congratulations, Adam. I know you've got a well-deserved rest on the cards now. Very sore after walking all that way in aid of MND. Now, let's have a chat with Lindsay Burrow, because as you said, Tom, the Burrow family are guests of honour tonight, and the Burrow children are playing a starring role in tonight's activities. Just tell us what they're going to be getting involved with, Lindsay.
Yeah, they've got a pretty packed agenda tonight, so they're going to be doing some presenting with Sky Sports and then joining in the 700 children that are going to be doing the dance spectacular. So really looking forward to that.
Yeah, so somebody's organised 777 children to dance in the stands on the pitch before the game kicks off. How have they been getting ready for that?
Well, we had a bit of last minute preparation last night, so I'm hoping that they've learnt the steps and they pull it off on the day, but they're just really looking forward to it. I think it's a great opportunity for all the children to get involved, and for many of them I'm sure it's the first time at a rugby game, and to have this awareness is just fantastic.
And yet again, lots of rugby league fans, whole rugby league community coming out in force to support the family. It must feel very heartwarming every time you see the support you get.
So yeah, the support we've had from the rugby community and the community of Leeds has just been phenomenal. We're so grateful, and as Kev said, just keep banging that drum and hopefully give patients hope and find those attractive treatments and cure.
Thank you very much, Lindsay Burrow. OK, well, the match is kicking off at 8 o'clock tonight. If you haven't set off to come down to the West Yorkshire Derby yet, the MND fundraisers are saying, please bring a bit of spare change, give generously if you can. And just remember, the action will be live on BBC Radio Leeds tonight. Back to you, Tom.
Thanks very much indeed, Corinne. Sounds like it's going to be a great evening there. By the way, we should also mention there's going to be a minute's silence before tonight's match between the Rhinos and Huddersfield, paying tribute to the former Leeds and Great Britain player Bev Risman, who's passed away sadly at the age of 85. That death was announced today. The birth of a rare Amer leopard cub has been caught on CCTV at the Yorkshire Wildlife Park. Mum Kristen gave birth last week. It's part of the international breeding programme at the park in Doncaster. The species is apparently at risk of becoming extinct, with only 75 estimated to be left in the wild. Congratulations to the proud parents there. Now, people will gather this weekend to mark Armed Forces Day to pay tribute to those who've served their country in the Army, Navy and Royal Air Force. A Leeds paratrooper is trying to raise money for local armed force charities by raffling off the chance to fly in a World War II Tiger Moth biplane. BBC Radio Leeds presenter Richard Stead went for a flight himself to see what's in store for the lucky winner.
For Armed Forces Day 2023, I'm very excited to say I'm fortunate enough to be going up in a 1939 Tiger Moth.
We're at Breton Airfield near Selby, about to fly in a World War II Tiger Moth. You are wearing a flight suit, a main vest, and you've got your flying helmet, and we're ready to go. Well, this aeroplane was built in 1939. This would have flown some very famous people in the beginning of their military careers.
Why does the person steering the aircraft sit in the rear seat as opposed to the front seat?
It's weight and balance, basically. A lot of the weight is in the front of the aircraft.
It will be when I'm in.
Make sure you get an in-flight meal as well. I'll serve that about 2,000 feet. I think it's chicken moussaka.
Lovely view already. Yeah. Now we are descending in. Half an hour it's taken us, and it's been sensational, if I'm being honest.
You know, we've both flown in a piece of aviation history that legends have flown before us who are not as fortunate to be here as we are today enjoying it.
This weekend, those veterans will be remembered, and someone will get the chance to fly this plane and help raise money for local charities. Richard Stead, BBC Look North.
Richard is lucky, isn't he? That looked absolutely fantastic, that beautiful blue sky there. Talking of blue skies, if you're down at that festival in Glastonbury, well, you won't be watching this, but there will be a corner of that field that is going to be forever Sheffield, because Legends Arctic Monkeys will headline the Pyramid stage in Glastonbury tonight after their set was thrown into question earlier this week. The band announced on Monday that Alex Turner had acute laryngitis, which forced them to cancel their show in Dublin on Wednesday. However, Emily Evis, the Glastonbury organisers, have confirmed the band will take to the iconic stage in Somerset this evening. Didn't fancy getting your wellies on and going down there to the mosh pit at Glasgow?
I absolutely would have gone, yes. I absolutely would. I would have ditched the 2-year-old and been straight there. And they've got really good weather for it, actually.
They have, haven't they?
But
yes.
Really warm. I would not want to be under canvas this weekend. It does look like it's going to be a very warm and a humid one. Let's have a look at a couple of photos. We've got a beautiful sunrise here, looking eastwards from Skipton. And red sky in the morning, Shepherd's warning. We do have a weather front waiting in the wind, so that played out. The second picture, some altocumulus cloud, and we did have more cloud around today. Keep your pictures coming in to the Weather Watchers page and on the social media pages as well. Oh, there you go. All our social media details there. There we go. I've just put a video on about humidity and how humid it's going to be this weekend as well. So keep your pictures coming in this weekend. So it's going to be a warm, very humid one, uncomfortable by night, very warm by day. Sunshine tomorrow, not wall-to-wall sunshine, but increasing amounts of it as we head through the afternoon. And then a breakdown through Sunday afternoon, some thunderstorms merging into longer spells of rain later in the day. That will freshen things up for early next week, though. So this is the satellite picture. We have had a fair amount of cloud. It's thickened from the west and it is starting to produce a little patchy rain and drizzle that will spread eastwards through the rest of this evening. And then a warm and muggy night with temperatures temporarily dropping back to around 16 or 17 degrees. So an uncomfortable muggy night to come. Let's have a quick look at those high waters just before 9 o'clock in Filey. So tomorrow, a very warm day. Those temperatures quickly rising, quite a bit of cloud through the morning, but still some bright or sunny spells. The risk of the odd light shower through the middle part of the day, but essentially dry, increasing amounts of sunshine as the afternoon wears on. Just look at these temperatures getting up to around 26 or 27 degrees. And I think it'll feel warmer than that because we will have high humidity. And then another uncomfortable night into Sunday. Sunday looks fine with some sunshine through the morning, some uncertainty on timing, but at the moment it looks like thunderstorms will break out through the afternoon, merging into longer spells of thundery rain through Sunday evening. But that will freshen everything up. Some of you will be breathing a sigh of relief. It looks fine and dry on Monday, but not as warm and humid. You won't need your waistcoat.
Thank you very much. Another uncomfortable night is a perfect description of my house if I accidentally leave the fridge door open or any other domestic
That is a sin.
It is, OK, all right. Wow, I'm getting it from all angles. Thank you very much for your company. Amanda's here with a late bulletin from your Friday evening gang. Take care.